we got ourselves a big Heeley in the house. So what we have here is a really late production Heeley 3000 BJ8. About 100 cars roughly from the end of production. This thing has been sitting for roughly 4 years. And from what the owner told me, probably in the last 10, 15 years before that, it probably didn't get 1,000 miles total on it. So we're gonna get this thing up and running for him. So this will be definitely more than just one video, because we got a stuck brake on the right rear. Clutch, there's nothing at all there for the clutch. Probably have to do all the hydraulics for the brakes, go through all the brake stuff, and cooling systems looks to be empty right now. We're gonna have to go through the carbs and all that stuff. So we'll start with basics, get it to turn over, check compression, make sure we got oil pressure, check the health of the engine first, and then move forward to get it running. Make sure the cooling system's up to snuff, and then move on to brakes and clutch. All right, so obviously, when this thing came in, it came in on a tow truck. Actually came in on a rollback. But when the tow truck driver went to pick it up, they had to drag it up. Well, he didn't actually drag it. He said he took the hammer of a handle, put it against the drum, and hit it a few times with the wood handle, and got it to come loose enough to get it to go up onto the truck without actually dragging the wheel. But it wouldn't come back off the truck. It would spin, it would move forward, but not backwards. So my first thing I'm going to do is get this to come loose enough, or at least get the drum off, so that I can move the car around in the shop to get it onto my lift and to move it around, because we're still working on the shop and I got an electrician coming out later today and it can't sit right where it's sitting. The first thing we'll do, I got the adjuster wrench. We'll try to adjust the adjuster, see if it'll move at all. And it's not going to want to move, so I'll have to try to soak that with some penetrating oil. Now, if I can't get that to come loose, the other thing I might try is using a 3-jaw gear puller. Now, I would rather not go this route, but I may have to, because my gear puller is not big enough to get into the back lip and really get a hold of this thing. I have to get on these fins, and I really don't want to do that. If I have to resort to that, then I'm going to have to be very careful about how much pressure I'm putting on it to not do any damage to anything. Of course, more than likely, I'd end up pulling the shoes out before I break that, but I don't want to take that chance. All right, I went ahead and slid the tire back on there, put the hub back on with one nut, and that, by hand, I can't get it to move either direction. By the way this feels, I wouldn't be too terribly surprised if this thing had been stored all that time with the emergency brake on, or parking brake, which is not a good thing. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, if I can get a hold of this thing, is, which I got the wrong tool for, I'm going to go ahead and take the pin out here that holds the e-brake lever, so I can make sure that's as released as I can get it, so that it's not putting any tension on the shoes. And I've got this soaking with some penetrating oil right now, and we'll see if I can get that to move a little bit. So I got the pin out of the e-brake here, and there's some movement there, so obviously the wheel cylinders are frozen and stuck out. But I've also been able to now get the adjuster to move. So we got it backed off, and success. Which, I'll go ahead and move it as it is, but I want to go ahead and see if I can get this off. Let's see what we got going on in here. We'll definitely need wheel cylinders, but now I can move the car and actually get it up on the lift. Of course, I still got to check the other side and see how free it rolls, and potentially do the same thing over there. But step one, now I can do other stuff to it. All right, now I've run through a compression check on it, and I'm between 135, 150 across the board right now. I do have spark at the points. I've emptied the gas tank and all the fuel out of the lines and everything. And we're just gonna hit it with a little starting fluid and see if it makes a little bit of noise, and if the oil pressure comes up on it. This probably won't start it, but make it do something. All right, well, oil pressure is coming up on it, and it is doing something. Now I could try to get some fuel to it and see if we can get it to actually run. And as usual, I got my little lawnmower gas can there. We'll see what happens. Well, I guess the footballs probably aren't getting any fuel in them, so I'll have to take the tops off of them and see what we got. Well, I got the tops of the footballs off, and both the needles were stuck closed, not popping out of there, so that's why we weren't getting any fuel. Now, the owner did say this thing was running just fine when he put it away, and I just want to make sure that it actually runs before I go too much further with some stuff, and I'm not going to let it run for very long at all. All right, let's see if we got any fuel in the carbs now. I do plan on taking these carbs off and cleaning them and doing some gaskets and stuff in them. They're showing 50 pounds of oil pressure. So it looks like this thing doesn't really need a whole lot of work outside of the brake and clutch problems, which is good for the owner.